why should I bother making a will? Making a will, which is usually a very simple and relatively inexpensive document in Israel, can be a very simple expedient for avoiding intra-family conflict, squabbles, and misunderstandings amongst your heirs. There are many advantages to making a will. These include your ability to prescribe how you would like your assets to be distributed once you reach the age of 120. For example, half to my spouse, and after both of our deaths, to our children in equal shares. It should be noted that in the absence of a will, your assets will not be divided in the above-mentioned manner, but according to the default provisions for distribution set forth in the Israeli inheritance law. Your will can also appoint named guardians to look after your children, should you and your spouse die while they are still young or are incapable of managing their own affairs. A will can clarify whether your grandchildren should inherit the share of your estate that their parent would have inherited had he or she been alive on the date of your death. You may want to make designated bequests to named beneficiaries of certain items of monetary or sentimental value to ensure their use for one or more generations to come. If any of your children have special needs which may justify an unequal division of your assets, your will can provide clear and straightforward provisions to deal with such situations. Your will can also include a long stop provision to cover the possibility that, God forbid, your entire family, children and grandchildren included, might die in a plane or car accident, etc. In addition, probating a will, when the time comes, involves much less expense, time, and bureaucracy than that required in order to obtain a succession order, a process which is complicated and lengthy as compared to the much simpler procedure of applying for an order to probate a will. In addition, in the absence of a will, your assets will be distributed, as mentioned, in accordance with the default provisions for distribution set forth in the Israeli succession law. These provisions may well distribute your estate in a manner which is less than ideal. For example, it may grant your widow only half of your estate, with the other half being distributed outright amongst your children. Two final tips to note when making a will in Israel. First, an Israeli will can be drafted in either Hebrew or the English language. Secondly, if you have assets outside of Israel, while technically you could cover all of your overseas assets with one will made in Israel, I personally recommend making separate wills for each jurisdiction in order to avoid unnecessary tax and other complications in the future. Without this expediency, your Israeli will would need to be probated in more than one jurisdiction, which can be a costly and bureaucratic procedure. So, if my wife and I own assets in Israel, but we still own assets in England and America, between us, we should sign 3 separate wills. One in Israel and in the UK for me, and one in Israel and the United States for my wife. For further advice and assistance in making an Israeli or UK will, or advice on other areas of Israeli or UK law, feel free to contact me at the following addresses. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.